couple of you I've had the chance to visit with, and I've asked questions like, well, what are you hoping to accomplish today? What do you want to leave with? And I've had a variety of answers. Some people have come up to me and said, Mason, I want to attract more of my ideal customers. Others have said things like, I want to be established as the expert in my field. I want to get paid more for what I do. I want to get paid for what I know, not just what I do. I want to be the supplier of choice when someone goes online. And the good news for all of you who I've spoken with is that those aren't mutually exclusive choices. So I want to lay out a variety of thoughts, strategies, and tools and let you pick and choose which ones you think are most applicable to you. There's nothing in my education or experience that gives me the right or the desire to come and tell any of you how to run your businesses. But I'm more than happy to share best practices and things that I've seen work on the front lines in the hopes that they can work on your front lines too. I guess I'd really like to start with a little story that takes me back to Miss Reese's 8th grade English class when we got that horrible assignment to do a book report. And as soon as she said, your job is to do a book report, you guys know how it is. What did the classroom do? Everyone's like, oh man, book report. Oh. So then the obvious questions came. What questions would I be talking about? You know the ones. Miss Reese, what's the minimum number of pages it has to be? 100. Does that include pictures? No. Like, everyone's sitting there thinking, what's the minimum that we can do to be done with this book report thing? And as soon as class was over, the race was on to the library to find the biggest print, the ones without pictures, and the shortest thing so we could be done with our book report stuff. Well, that's how most people thought. I started thinking a little differently. I said, I got a better plan. And this would have been about the time that the movie 1941 came out with John Belushi. I'm like, I saw my parents, they got this book 1941. That's going to be my book report because I saw the movie. So what did I do? I chose to just watch the movie and write a report on it because I could handle any questions she was going to throw out in the oral interview, which she did. So here's the interesting thing is when we talk about the idea of your brand as a media outlet, I want to just kind of plant some seeds and kind of see where that leads us. But one of the ways that we as a culture have traditionally communicated has been through text and books. And I love books, I read a lot. But I look at my kid and I look at my friends and how many of them associate reading a book with schoolwork. It's like, I got to read a book. Or, I got to read reports. Or, we associate because we had to do it in school. Like, how many pages do we have to read for this assignment? Not how many pages do we get to read, but how many pages do we have to read for our assignment? But how do most of us as businesses communicate with our ideal prospects? I.e. text, in a way that means to them something they associate with more work that they have to do. Well, you can do that if you choose to, but I'm going to suggest an alternative. What's that alternative? TV and movies. People love those. That's entertainment. That's exciting. How many kids? What are we telling? What are the questions when our kids come to us? They always say, how much do I have to read? But we're sitting there saying, we don't want you to watch any more television. And they're sitting there negotiating with us. Hey, can I watch just a little bit more TV, Mom? Or can I see one more movie, Dad? You guys know how it goes. So what if we could take that desire and put that in your customers or your prospects and communicate with them in a way that they actually want to be communicated with, that they like to be communicated with, and they can actually respond to. So this whole idea of your brand as a media outlet. Some of you know that I had the opportunity a few years back. I was sitting in Springfield, Missouri, outside of a cafe with one of my buddies from high school. And right after, I don't know how many of you watch CBS's show Survivor, but this guy sitting next to me has been on 3 episodes. And the last time he was on, he actually made it to the finale, and he lost $1 million by just a few votes. Anyway, after his first session, we're sitting out there, and I see this guy walking down the sidewalk, and I tap my buddy Mark on the shoulder. I go, Mark, that's Coach from Survivor. He's like, son of a gun, man, it is. So we're like, hey, Coach. And he caught our attention. He kind of gave us one of those little nods and said, hey, we're buying rounds if you'll tell Survivor stories. He's with one of his buddies, like, all right, it's kind of early, maybe 8 o'clock at night, so it's not like there was that much happening in Springfield, Missouri at 8 o'clock on a Friday night yet. So he's like, all right. He hung out with us for about an hour, and we talked about the show and how it was edited and the different characters and the people. And he hung out with us for about an hour. And here was the interesting thing, is I felt like I knew this guy. He seemed like one of my best friends. And he genuinely was a super nice guy. But the reality was he was an absolute total stranger. He could have been a psycho. He wasn't, but he could have been. But I felt so comfortable reaching out to him and say, hey, we'll buy drinks. Come join us at our table. That's the power of TV. That's the power of movies. How many actors or actresses would you love to invite to your birthday party? Or come hang out? Or pro athletes? How many politicians would, if you saw them hitching a ride with a thumb, you'd aim for a puddle? You don't know these people. You think you do, but you don't. You feel like it because you've seen them on TV and you've heard them and you've seen how they react. Well, how do we transfer that kind of power to you? Well, let's think about how all this all began. I remember as a kid, I grew up in the St. Louis area, I'm a local guy, and I remember when we had, on television, we had Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11, and if you worked with the rabbit ears, you might be able to get Channel 30. And then I remember when we got cable TV, it was like, oh, 30 channels, this is awesome. 30 channels, this rules. And 24-hour sports, oh, great. 24-hour news channel. Not that I was excited about seeing news, but my parents always clogged the TV between 5 and 6, and now that was no longer a problem because they could watch it whenever they wanted. So I was thinking 30 channels. Oh, MTV music videos, this rules. This is awesome. It can't get better than that. Well, then what comes along after that? Satellite. Now we got hundreds of channels. And it's not just a 24-hour sports channel. Take your pick, man. It's the NBA channel, the NHL channel, the Major League Baseball channel, the golf channel. And it's not just MTV. Well, they actually just don't even play videos anymore. But now you got country music TV stations. You got all these very defined niches. Hundreds of channels, right? But how many times have we sat around TV going, oh, there's nothing on? Hundreds of channels, we're sitting there complaining because there's nothing on TV. What's better? What could possibly be better than hundreds of channels? Answer, how about millions? Well, that exists. It's called YouTube. YouTube isn't the only provider of videos. But anyone can create a channel and anyone can buy advertising. And not only that, but actually, I'll get to that in a second. But it was created in 2007. They have more than 1 million creators from over 30 countries around the world. If I, as a consumer of content, like I wanted to go do an ultramarathon, I can go on YouTube and type in about that ultramarathon, and people have taken GoPro cameras on the race. I feel like I know what the course is like ahead of time. I know what the scenery's like. It's like you made that journey with them. Regular television can't do that. It doesn't do that. It doesn't give you that level of specificity. There are thousands of channels making 6 figures a year where businesses are paying to advertise to that audience. More than 1 billion unique users visit YouTube each month. 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. And according to Nielsen, YouTube reaches more U.S. adults ages 18 to 34 than any cable network. Millions of subscriptions happen each day, and the number of people subscribing daily is up more than 3 times since last year. This is where this gets dangerous. Mobile makes up almost 40% of YouTube's global watch time. On your mobile phones, on your tablets, start talking computers. And here's the best part. Some of you might be going, well, Mason, that's great. This is YouTube. I get that. But, I still like my TV. That's TV and video. You're talking about different things. Not anymore. Why? Because there's this little thing called Smart TV where people can actually clip, or a Google Chromecast, they clip a little thing about the size of a thumb drive in their television, and people can watch YouTube channels on their televisions. So now, YouTube is not only on televisions, but it is on tablets, it is on cell phones, it is on computers. It is everywhere. So what does this mean for you? What kind of opportunities exist? When I made the comment, I said thousands of people are earning 6-figure incomes because they are creating channels that businesses want to advertise on so they can reach their audience, right? Well, as seen on TV, it's a credibility thing. You want to establish credibility and attract your ideal customers and position yourself accordingly, then get famous. And how do you do that? You get seen on TV. And here's the interesting thing. Video equals TV. Our kids, when they see something on YouTube, they don't really distinguish the credibility between that and what they see on television. Those lines have blurred. And that can be a good thing to you as business marketers if you utilize this to your advantage, and we'll talk about how. When I talk about video as TV, I'm going to hit back 1 second here. I was invited this week to the TEDx. You guys know the TEDx talks? They did a simulcast. The actual event took place in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I went to the Missouri History Museum in Forest Park with about 150 other people. And they had this streamed in on satellite, and we're sitting here watching a video of these TED Talks along with other people, like-minded people. It was really enjoyable. It's great to be around other folks that shared common values. And here was the interesting thing. What do you think happened when the first speaker got done finished? People started clapping. It's to a screen. There's nobody there. I saw a room full of people sitting here clapping, going, yeah, and it's television. So if any of you question the power of video and media, I hope that I'm throwing some water on that. I mean, when I watched that, I was like, oh man, it's on. So what are some of the popular video styles that you could put into effect right now to start creating a presence online? Screencast. One of my favorite pieces of software is ScreenFlow. If you've got a Mac, it's awesome. Camtasia, I think, is what they use if you're a PC type. But you could literally just talk about what you're doing online and what you know and stuff and record that. And if it provides value, then, I mean, I can't even tell you how much stuff I learned to do with the GoPro camera just by watching other people's YouTube videos. Live. You can go record live action stuff, whether it's with a GoPro, whether it's with your mobile phone. I had the opportunity to meet Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in October. And he is the genius behind with a B, billions of dollars of television product sales through infomercials. He was the guy behind the Ginsu knives. He was the guy behind Tony Little's exercise equipment. He had, from what rumor has it, he has a swimming pool at home that is the size of 3 football fields. So I listened when the man spoke. He said he basically took the Ginsu knives guy. He met him at a trade show, and the guy was slicing and dicing and had a whole bunch of people around him throwing money at him, saying, how can I buy these? So he said, oh, I'm just going to put this on camera. He went to television stations. Guess what? Because back in the day, they at midnight, between midnight and 6, what do we see? Beep, and then the colored lights, right? So he just goes and he goes to these people. He says, hey, I got an idea. How would you like to make money without doing anything? Television stations like, talk to us more. Well, what do you got? He says, oh, how about you just play this video at night? I'm like, okay. So they did it. Next thing you know, this guy's starting to sell products. Then they get wise and they start wanting more. Well, hey, you're making money off that. We want to cut that. Fine, I'll give you a percentage of it. He didn't pay anything out. Then he started doing the same thing with celebrities. He went to celebrities and said, hey, I'll pay you to endorse my stuff. Well, how much is it? We'll pay you. You charge me this. No, I'll just give you a percentage of what we do. So he just worked out with televisions, and he worked out with the stars, so he had no money up front, which is pretty bright. Then he figured out not only can he do it in America, but he can take the same stuff and do it anywhere in the world. If some of you remember some of those infomercials back in the day, they'd say, hey, if you're in England, and they'd have a British flag, call this number. If you're in Germany, call this number. Same thing, all he did is put his new call to action at the end of it. Wasn't that hard. He made the comment, he said, I sold billions of dollars worth of product over the television. And I spent millions of dollars on camera equipment in studios that aren't as good and don't take as good of pictures as the mobile phones that you have in your pocket with HD cameras right now. It's like, it's on. So, live is an option. And you know what? Some of you maybe say, hey, I got my own studio, do it. Some of you say, man, I don't want to be on camera, hire a model, hire an actor. But get good content out there. So, once you get good content out there, how do you get found? Well, I'm going to talk about a couple ways. One is organically in search engines. 2 is guerrilla tactics, where you're making stuff happen. And 3 is paid. And I'm not going to talk a lot about paid. But I'm also going to expose you to the 3 secret weapons for accomplishing what I just showed you. If you go to businesswebvideos.com, there's a place for you to register. You're going to have to register to see them. But it will give you the tools to execute what I'm going to show you next. And again, because of condensing time, I'd love to be able to go over all this with you, but I'm going to hit the highlights and trust that if energy, you'll spend your own time to do that. But let's start with the countdown from 3 to 1. What's the number 3 secret weapon? How to rank organically? It's a video that shows you exactly how to create your video content in ways that the search engines will find it. And because YouTube is actually owned by Google, it gives itself preferential treatment, and there are ways to title, tag, describe, and create your content in ways that will get you found. And that video explains all those things. I'm not going to go over it all now, but let me give you a real-life example of what the results of this are. Notice if I did the search for business telephone system, St. Louis, Missouri. What do you see in the organic results? You see a video. Does anything stand out in this whole page? Anything stand out? Video stands out, doesn't it? Okay, that's not an accident. Another reason to do it. Secondly, you see all this advertising. Well, just so happens I have a friend that happens to be in this business, and he tells me that it's not uncommon for one of those advertisements to cost over $30 per click. So businesses are paying over $30 to get someone to click on their ad on the side. I happen to have looked at this guy's video channel, and there are cases where he has upwards of 600 views. You do the math on that at $30 a click. By my calculations, that's a little over $18,000 worth of advertising he just saved himself by making one video. And that's not the big savings. The big savings is how much stuff did he actually sell and make profit over it because people actually saw it and bought stuff from him. That's the power of video. That's the power of knowing how to do this stuff right. Second, how about guerrilla style? What if, who likes to cold call? John, we got one. I knew he would. That was a setup question. So we got one that likes to cold call. What if there was a way that someone who loves to cold call could put out a perfect presentation every single time to only people who were highly interested in what he had to offer? He didn't have to cold call everybody, just the people that were interested in it. And what if he could actually reach out to 500 people a day without having to lift a finger? That'd be all right. Well, software I'm a fan of allows you to do that. A lot of people don't realize YouTube is a social network as well. It's not just a place to put videos. What a friend request is on Facebook, think contact request on YouTube. There are subscribers and there are contacts. So if I wanted to go out in YouTube and, realistic example. I just took one of my channels. I have multiple channels. This is one of them. But for a video channel related to social media and online marketing, live interviews and things like that, this was a channel I just threw together about a year ago. But who would be interested in something like content like that? Well, people that would be going on to YouTube, typing in things like Instagram or Inc. Magazine or Pinterest. True? If those people are interested in Pinterest, and if they're interested in Instagram, and they're interested in Inc. Magazine, those would probably be the ideal type of customers for someone who is selling online marketing services, correct? So this software will actually go out, and I think it costs me like $15 a month or something like that. But it actually goes out, and I can type in something like Instagram, and what will it do for me? I can say, I want to add contacts, search phrase, I can type in Instagram, and I hit test search phrase, and then I hit go. And what that will do is it will go out and it will do a YouTube search for any videos related to the topic of Instagram. And it could be millions, it could be hundreds of thousands, it could whatever. And anyone who has commented on those videos, it will grab their username and it will send them a contact request at a rate of up to 500 a day. Because that's within YouTube's terms of service. Now, if I send Karen a contact request and she doesn't know who I am, what's the first thing she's going to ask? Who is this guy? So guess what she's going to do? She's going to click on my thing and she's going to land on my YouTube page. Hi, I'm Mason Duchateschek, and this is my background. If you're looking for solutions to problems like A, B, and C, and looking to avoid headaches like Y and Z, you've come to the right place. I've created this video channel for you and others like you, and I've got this to offer. I would invite you to subscribe to my channel. Guess what? All that's happening without me having to lift a finger because I'm leveraging automation. Or if I want to share a video, I can pick a video that I want, I can share it, and then you can do about 100 a day with that. And once that's done, you hit go, and the system does all the work for you. Now, the beautiful thing about that is I'm limited to 500 per channel, but I got multiple channels, so I can be reaching thousands of people per day with multiple channels without any work. Not telling you got to do it, I'm just saying these are options for you. So let's talk a little bit about brands becoming their own media outlet, and then I'll talk about the last secret weapon. Red Bull's got this figured out. Instead of, back in the day, if a company wanted to advertise, like at the Super Bowl, they're going to spend millions of dollars for 30 seconds of coverage. And last Super Bowl party I went to, half the people there weren't even interested in the game. But The businesses are paying to advertise to the people who aren't even paying attention and aren't even interested in football. Numbers are still big enough it makes it worth their while, but Red Bull's figured out something else. You know what? Maybe football people aren't our ideal prospect. Maybe we're interested in more extreme sports type people. So what do? They actually go out and create content that attracts who? Extreme sports enthusiasts. And they actually create events, their own events, and they've got their own channels for motocross, for water sports, for skateboard sports, whatever. And they've got all of their channels, and they attract who? Their ideal prospects. And if they're hosting a motocross, extreme motocross or extreme BMX event, guess what's plastered all around the entire arena? Their stuff, the entire duration of the event. Because it's their event, they can do what they want. They're creating the content. Second of all, they can create events that attract and capture the interest of their ideal. It's a win-win. Now, in the old days, it would have been really tough and real expensive. Not anymore. Any one of you can do this. And you might be saying, oh, is it working? Oh, they've got 716 million views. And this is just one of their channels, by the way. They've got 3.3 million subscribers. That means anytime they put out a new piece of content, 3.3 million people say, send it to me, please. How many of you are subscribing to different brands right now saying, hey, every time you send an advertisement, I want to see it? That's what these guys are getting at. Except for they're not doing this advertising, they're doing it. But you might say, Mason, that's great, but I don't have the budget of Red Bull. I'm not a multi-million-dollar corporation. Like small company, small business. That's okay. You don't have to be Red Bull. And I'm going to prove it to you. Anybody ever heard of Jenna Marbles? She has really awesome content about important topics, like how to look cute if you're not. Lies boys tell girls. Lies girls tell boys. And she sells cute little furry animals on her website. She has 1.3 billion views. That's almost twice as much as Red Bull. 12 million subscribers. That's 4 times as many subscribers as Red Bull. Guess what? That is someone who's making 7 figures a year with companies paying to advertise on her channel in addition to all her little furry animals she sells. Okay? This woman has figured out how to make content that attracts an ideal audience. You can too. So how much of the power has old media declined? I'm not bagging on old media. There's a place for it. But you know what? If you're looking to get an advantage and do things that everyone else isn't doing, let me talk about how much the power has dwindled. When the Obamacare rollout came out in October, I was watching a press conference, and Jay Carney was getting peppered with questions. The White House press secretary was getting peppered with questions he didn't like. He does this. Got to go. And walked off. He just showed cameras around the entire room of the press, and these guys are just, they're sitting here laughing, joking about this like they can't believe that this has happened. He just walked out on them. Look, got to go. Took off. Why? Because he can. He knows that the White House doesn't need them. Now, it's helpful if they're on his side, but you know what? They can put out all the videos they want. They can put out all of the pictures they want, the stories they want, and go directly to the audience without having it filtered by the media. Now, they want to keep it. They don't want to be adversarial too much, but the bottom line is, he walked out on a... Ronald Reagan tried that back in the day before the rest of this stuff existed. They would have roasted him. But he did it because he could. In the old days, old media, think in terms of television stations. New media, think in terms of video channels. Not just on YouTube, but there's Daily Motion, there's Vimeo, there's other video channels too. Radio, instead of thinking about, in the old days, how you would have marketed to radio stations, thinks in terms of podcast channels. I just launched 3 new podcast channels on iTunes. Every single one of you can use the platform of Apple with over 1 billion, with AB subscribers, right now to free. You can create free podcasts using video. Newspapers, start thinking in terms of article posting sites. Magazines, start thinking in terms of blog sites. Newswires, start thinking in terms of status sites. You want to get your content out to all of these places. Why else would Jeff Bezos have purchased the Washington Post? Those lines that separated old media, and you can use old media to promote new media, and new media to promote old media. These guys get it. Why do you think they're doing this? There's nothing stopping you other than your decision not to move forward on this stuff. My friend Alan Minster, some of you guys know, co-authored the book Sales Utopia with me, and he sat down and drew this on a napkin one of the first times I met with him at Applebee's almost 20 years ago. And he said, Mason, sales revenue is a combination of two things: closing percentage times the number of selling opportunities. If you're putting stuff out and that is of value, you're going to maximize your closing percentage. I mean, because it's perfect. A video can be perfect presentation every single time. But how do you make the number of selling opportunities exponential? And that is a matter of going everywhere. For those of you who have been confused or overwhelmed by the concept of social media and online marketing, I'm going to tell a little story that I hope clarifies things for you. I had a sales rep that worked for me for a while. His name was Matt, and he was, I guess about 29, but he grew up in Alabama, and he had the attention span of a gnat and ADHD in the worst way, and his dad took him fishing when he was a little kid for the very first time, and he told me all about it. He said, Mason, he goes, it was a miserable experience. We cast a line out into the lake or into the river and had one bobber on it, and I had to sit patiently waiting for that thing to go. Just couldn't do it. Drove me crazy. I drove my dad crazy. It was a miserable experience. He goes, then my dad taught me how to jug fish, and we tried it again. And I didn't know what that was. I'm a Missouri kid. I go, what the heck's jug fishing? He goes, Mason, that's when you go and you take hundreds of plastic milk jugs, because they float, you screw the lid on the top, and you turn it upside down, and you take fishing line, and because the fish swim at different depths, you have different length lines, and a hook at the bottom of it, and you put bait on that, and you go where you know there are lots of fish and no one else fishing, and you drop those things out. And when those things go underwater, you scoop them up with a net. So here's a little kid running all up and down the bank all day, scooping up fish, having a ball. So what's the analogy? The river is the internet, the fish are your prospects, the bait is your content, and it's important to put out new bait on a regular basis for the same reason it would be there. You don't want it to get stale and repel your ideal prospects rather than attract them. The jugs, those are your media channels. So if you've got a website, and that's it. That's like you're fishing with one bobber in the water hoping for the best. You got video channels, you got podcasts, you got articles, you got blogs, you got media going to all those places where your ideal prospects. That's jug fishing. And I don't just want to be in every river. In the process of finding out where the fish are and where no one else is fishing, that's the process of keyword research. And I think that's where 99% of most business owners fail before they ever begin on any of their online marketing efforts, because they don't find out where their ideal prospects are and areas where there's not a whole bunch of people there so they can actually get the fish. I personally am not content to be just on one stream, dominate. I want to be on every pond, every lake, every river, every stream, every ocean. I want to be wherever there's fish and I can get my content. So the whole idea of media outlet, if you're going to do a radio show, would you just want to be on KMOX, or would you want to be syndicated on every single radio show in the country? Would you just want to have a show on CNN, or would you want to be on every single television network? Would you want to have a writer on a local paper, or would you want to be syndicated on all the papers? Well, just like the old media, it's all syndication. On new media, you can do all of that right now. And you don't need anyone's permission. You just need to put out great content. So what is secret one? You might be saying, Mason, that's a heck of a lot of work. That sounds great. In La La Land, that would be great if I had nothing to do except for send content to every video channel and every article posting site and every blog site and whatnot. But I would take an army to do that. And you'd be right, unless you're leveraging automation, which leads us to secret weapon number one, which I promised you. And that is automated software. So I'm not going to suggest to any of you how to do anything that I do not do myself. So this is exactly what I do when it comes to creating new content. I will create a new piece of content in a video format, and I will send it. I leverage software, and I told you with secret weapons there, but I will send it to all the video sites, podcast sites, social book marketing sites, blog sites, status sites, like Facebook and Twitter, and then the article posting sites, and I will do it with the touch of a few buttons. Here's what it works. Here's how it works. These are actually screenshots of the software I use to do it. But I will take a video, and these are the video channels that are in green, and I'll say, here's my video. I will upload it to the cloud. I will check the video channels that I want it to go to. I will title it, tag it, describe it. I press a button, and the software will go to each one of those sites, log up, and upload it. Then go to the next one, log it, upload it. Go to the next one, log it, and upload it as if I were doing it manually. And it doesn't do it all at once, so the search engines don't think they're getting spammed. They spread it out over time. It does it automatically. Then what I do is I take the content that I used for the script for the video, strip the intro, strip the exit, or the call to action, leave the meat. Guess what? That's content for blogs. Post that thing that text in the blogs, say these are the blog sites I wanted to go to, hit go, the system will automatically log into every one of those for me and upload that text. Then I go to the status sites, the Twitters and the Facebooks and whatnot. Guess what? Got a new video up. Go check it out with links to it. Did I do that? No, the system did. Then I go to the article sites, just like I did with the blog sites. Paste that content in there, tell which ones I want it to go to, hit go. The system does work for me automatically. Then I hit the podcasting and social bookmarking sites. What kind of results does that get? This is how this works. If you put a website up and all your business is contingent upon one website, and someone does a search for your business online, how many times are you going to come up in a search? If you're lucky, one. If you jugfish and you put out videos and you put out articles and you put out blogs and you put out websites and you put them out everywhere, how many times is it possible for you to come up in a search? Someone searches your name or something that you do. Answer, a lot. I did a local search in the town I live in, and it's not a big deal. This is real easy. I live in a small town. But I didn't do this to show off because it's not that big of an accomplishment. But what I did do this to show off was the content, what these listings, 8 of the top 10 listings in Google, and this wasn't for my business name, this was for the type of work that I do, 8 of the top 10. But what do you see? Video, website, Facebook, blog. That's jug fishing. I have different things popping up. Okay? That's what happens when you execute what I just showed you. That's jug fishing. That's going everywhere with your content. Well, how would something like that work in a regional market like St. Louis? Well, exact same search phrase, and I got 5 out of the top 6. Again, broken down. Videos, blog, websites. And then it's still ranked nationally. So why do you take the first step on this stuff? Just another question for you. Anybody know who the first pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic was? Lindbergh. Exactly. You know who the second one was? Exactly. Exactly. Anybody know who the first one to break the 4-minute mile was? Come on, Fred. Roger Bannister. Yes, imagine that. How long ago was that? Long time. How about the second? All right. Exactly. All right. So what am I encouraging you to do? I want you to go out and be original. Take what you have. There's only one you. Go out, be original, create content. Be aware of what value you have to the marketplace and let it shine. Don't let anyone discourage you. Don't let anyone get in your way. And you know what? Don't be all wrapped around the axe like, oh man, some of my stuff will suck. You know what? It will first. And then the next time you do it, it'll suck a little less. And it'll suck a little less. And you might actually get kind of decent at it. And you keep doing it, you might actually get pretty good at it. And do it a little bit more, you might actually be really freaking good. But you're not going to go from here to here without trying. So I'm asking you for your families, for your friends, for your own sanity, stick your neck out there. Go for it. Have a little fun. And I want to share one, as I wrap up and turn it over to Scott. One thing I want to ask you guys to think about as a kind of a parting thought is, I think a lot of Mike King's, if there's anybody on this planet that I would say has taught me the most about online marketing, it's this guy. And he challenges folks to think of their business as a show. And ask yourself the question, how can I make my business interesting to my prospects? How can I still tell stories of transformation? How can I let people in my inner world see behind the scenes what's going on? Get a sense for the personality and what you're really like. And what you really know and how good you really are. Let them see that. So, everything I've spoken about so far has all been about how to build your brand online and how to build your brand as a media outlet. And that's really only half the picture. The other half of the picture is how do you protect it? Because you know what, when you get good at stuff, you're going to have haters that are going to come out and they're going to say bad things about you and they're going to try smearing you. And the reality of it is they may try doing that. They may be doing it anyway, regardless of what you do or don't do. But when you put out content in all these places, you can't always, there's no erase button on the internet. You can't get rid of them, but you know what, you can drown them out if you put out higher quality content more often in more valuable sites. So I want to spend my time talking about how we could help you grow your business online. I think we'll take a short break, and then we'll let Scott come up and talk about how to protect your brand and how to protect your reputation online, because that's the other half of this formula. Not only how do you grow, but how do you protect what you have. So with that, my encouragement to you is tell the stories and attract the money. Have faith that these billion-dollar systems of Facebook and Twitter and Google, and they know what they're doing, and their whole job is to unite people who are looking for help with people who can deliver it. Let them do their things. You just need to provide the content that makes you attractive. So that's my encouragement to you. Tell the stories and attract the money. And to give you all a jump start, some of you may be thinking, scratching your head, hey, where do I start with this stuff if I want to do this? If you text your name, your email, and the code 99014 to that number, then you will get a free Jumpstart video series. You can actually do this from your mobile phone, because I do it, and I practice what I preach. If people are like, hey, can you send me that information? No. That's manual, and I don't do things that way. So where do I start? Well, I've got one video that talks about the top 15 different video ideas. I've got another one that will tell you about how to get people to like your videos and to watch them longer, actually create engaging content, regardless of their attention spans. And 3, the secrets I told you about how to get videos to rank organically. So you can do that from your mobile phone, and it will actually be delivered to your email inbox. And the other thing is, if you wanted to know those secret weapons 1, 2, and 3, if you go to businesswebvideos.com, you can register there, and you will have access to the secret weapons, which gives you the software and the stuff that I talked about earlier. So with that, we're ready for a break. Bill, thank you.